And new tonight at 11, the U.S. Department of Agriculture is now responding to a lawsuit by Maine Attorney General Aaron Fry on the state's behalf, accusing the organization of illegally freezing federal funding for school nutrition programs. The USDA announced last week that it was freezing funding for some educational programs in Maine in response to those alleged Title IX violations. The department released a document responding to the suit today. In the document, it said, quote, "The freeze on the USDA funding at issue, with just a single exception, was never meant or earmarked for purchasing food for children, and there is every indication here that the state can cover any shortfalls." It also points out the frozen funds amount to less than $3 million, while the state's budget is in the billions. A breakdown of the programs affected by the freeze is also provided in the document. Among them are funds designated to administration. Maine's Attorney General Aaron Fry has followed up with his own response to the USDA, saying, quote, "With no funds for state-level operating costs, Maine's child nutrition program cannot administer the food programs, and children will go hungry." There's also a push at the State House to try and protect Maine's free school meal program as the state braces for more federal spending cuts. Just today in Washington, a budget resolution that would cut billions of dollars in food assistance passed in the House. Some leaders in our state say Mainers will feel the pinch of cuts like those if they go into effect. News Center Maine's Raya Wooten explains.
They're at school. We require them to be there.
Federal and state tax dollars fund things like education and busing students to school, and many say funding school meals should be no different.
We're just putting students in the middle of something they shouldn't be in the middle of.
Maine became the second state to offer universal free meals to students in 2020, an effort signed into law by Governor Janet Mills. The program feeds more than 100,000 students in the state, yet Maine still leads with the highest rate of food insecurity in New England. Recognizing that need, Governor Mills is backing a new bill, LD 577, sponsored by Maine Democratic Senator Mike Tipping.
A lot of kids, the breakfast and lunch that they get at school is their only nutrition for the day.
The bill reinforces Mills' call for a $6 million increase to the state's biennial budget to maintain free meals for all students in Maine. The governor says Maine children deserve the opportunity to learn without being distracted by hunger.
But Maine cannot pick up the tab if the federal government cuts billions of dollars from school meal programs or other nutrition assistance programs like SNAP or Meals on Wheels. And that's what's threatened right now in Washington, D.C.
Republicans in Washington are working to pass legislation that would increase the eligibility threshold that determines how much federal school meal reimbursement funding schools receive. Currently, schools that have 25% or more of students and families who receive government assistance benefits like SNAP are eligible for the federal funding. State Senator Tipping and others say they fear Congress could raise that threshold to 60%, need or higher.
Well, this would take the number of schools in Maine that are eligible from like 79 to like 2.
At the State House, Raya Wooten, News Center, Maine.